Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Harakak Wadash, giving double honors to all the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone. And yes, the house of David is rising, and salutes to all the 144,000 elects and all the rest of the elect, the Afwakim and the Wafbanyam elect. That's the women and the children in the Hebrew. So just looking at this Deuteronomy 17, administration of justice. Just wanted to go into this briefly and highlight certain points in it. Very interesting chapter in Deuteronomy, administration of justice. And we're going to come back to the blue letter. I wanted to look at the Deuteronomy 18, tapped in gateway, Bible Hub, and just to get an idea of some background on it. Let me zoom out a bit. I'm going to read it. It says, just to get a context here, a little bit of context. Context, guidelines for king. Yeah, so this is the context here. Let me zoom in now. It's a guideline. It says guidelines for king. He must not take many wives for himself, lest his heart go astray. Right? He must not accumulate for himself large amounts of silver and gold. Yeah. So these are some of the guidelines here. Like I say, this is just a brief video before I hit the road. There's a lot in there, but I want to hit some of the bullet points. It says, so he must not accumulate large amounts of silver and gold when he is seated on his royal throne. He must write for himself a copy of this instruction on the scroll in the presence of the Levite priests. It is to why is this? Why is this? Why are the guidelines of the king? This is the guidelines directed to the kings, and we had some kings in those times. There's other examples of kings who reigned. One of the prominent ones is Solomon. It is to remain with him as he is to read from it all the days of his life, so that he may learn to fear. This is why. Right? So we're making an application of these examples to ourselves today, modern day. This is the reason why we read these videos, read these precepts, and do these videos. And it is a good way to keep these things, to stay on track. Good reminders when you do the videos. You think you're just doing the videos to push out videos. You want to do a lot of it. No, it's not just about doing videos. You want to do as much as possible, right? Which that's nothing wrong with doing a lot of videos, but as long as you're edifying and you're also applying the things that you're putting out, because if not only you're doing it for other people, the church, to edify the church, you're actually reinforcing a lot of the things that you're reading in your mind. So if you do videos, more focus on the quality. More when you're doing these videos, we focus more on the quality than the quantity. But if you can push out quality with quantity, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that either. But like I say, before you can run, you have to walk. Abaratazar. That you may learn to fear. This is the point. Fear the Lord his God by carefully observing all the words of this instruction and these statutes. So it was making us personal self-analysis, examining yourself, that you also observing the things that are written in the scriptures. And we're going to get a little bit. So we just wanted to get to the context of this, why we're going into this. And then we're going to go back to the blue letter. hit some of the bullet points that I find interesting. Now we know a little bit of the context, administration of justice. Let's hit some of these verses in Deuteronomy 17. It says, "But he shall not multiply horses to himself, nor cause the people to return to Egypt, to the end of that he should multiply horses. For as much as the Lord hath said unto you, you shall reinforce, return no more that way. Neither shall he multiply wives to himself, that his heart turn not away, neither shall he greatly multiply to himself silver and gold." Is it Matthew? Might be Matthew 5 or Matthew 6. It talks about keeping the eyes simple. So that's the principle, that what it's about. What the king's instruction was: keep your eyes simple. Yeah, so you can focus on the more important things. Like I say, you can make a personal application to your individual life. This is what we're doing. We're making a personal application. Abu Razah is edifying also as we're doing this. Jump down to 17. "And it shall be when he sitteth upon the throne of his kingdom, that he shall write him a copy of this law in a book out of that which is before the priests, the Levites. And he shall be with him, and he shall read therein all the days of his life, that he may learn," here it is, "to fear the Lord his God, to keep all the words that this law and these statutes, to do them." That's why we read them, man. It's not just about telling other people what they should be doing or what they should not be doing. But we should be doing that too, practicing what we're telling other people, that what they should be doing or what they shouldn't be doing. Right? Observing the statutes and the laws. First and foremost, applying it to ourselves, so that we can be walking examples. Because they say, there's a saying, action does speak louder than words. So that we could be walking, living examples of what we say. Even if we were mute. Even if we were muted, which is good that we're not muted. The Most High says, if we didn't preach, the stones will cry out. But he has us doing this work with a voice. But even if we were muted, our actions should speak for us. Should be shouting and crying out. As it says in Matthew, we're letting our light shine. Also with what we say and also with what we do. 80, now 20 of 17. "That his heart not be lifted up above his brethren." Right? That we don't exalt ourselves, lift up our hearts above our brethren. "And that he turn not aside from the commandments to do the right hand or to the left, to the end that he may prolong his days." Right? You think that you're just reading a little novel? This is not a novel, a little book of novels, or book of stories, or Jack and Nori bedtime stories. This is this book here is different from all the rest. It's gonna preserve your life, as it's saying here. If you read it, man, every day, the more you read it, the better. Yeah, but everybody has their personal schedule. Make the best schedule for yourself, where you're gonna be able to not only read it, right? Because people just want to. Some people I've been in the Christian church. People just say, they want the right to be able to boast. Some people want the right to be able to boast. I've read the book from top to bottom. I've read it 5 times. I read it 10 times. You got good readers in the church. Got good readers in the church. You got good talkers in the church. But you also got a lot of good hypocrites in the church too. They want the right to be able to boast about what they've achieved, what they can do, their achievements, or what they've done. But here's the point: to the end that ye may prolong his days in his kingdom, and he and his children in the midst of Israel. Right? But if you don't put it into practice, man, all what you've achieved, what you can boast about, right, don't mean a thing. What you can achieve, what you can boast about. I've met many very academic people in the Christian church, which they mounted out when it came down to the nuts and bolts. A lot of them cracked when it comes to applying the scriptures. They fell miserably. And we all know about, for those that have been in the Christian church, or someone who has been in the Christian church, we know all about it. It's just a veneer and a front. Now, for ourselves, because I'm directing this first and foremost to myself. I didn't come into this truth to mess about. I came into this truth to learn, Abaratazar, and grow. As the scripture says, form a longing, man, in Peter. Peter's chapters 4, form a longing for the truth. Yeah, as milk, that you may grow thereby. And it's the same principle here we're looking at. Same principle. Reading, yeah. And it shall be with him, and he shall read therein all the days of his life, that he may learn to fear the Lord his God, to keep all the words that is law of this law and these statutes, to do them. Right? A good example is King Solomon, man. King Solomon was a good king because he did exactly this, and he applied what he learned. And the Most High blessed him with wisdom to infinity. He started off with a little bit of wisdom, and he ended up with wisdom to infinity. And as I say, we saw his example of reigning for 40 years, and the Most High blessed him with silver and gold. He says not to multiply those things, but because he got his priorities right, the Most High gave him wisdom, silver and gold, and wives, and also horses. He talks about horses here. He gave him all of those other things to infinity, because he had his priorities right. He feared the Lord God. This is the whole point of me looking at this little couple of precepts, but powerful, packing a powerful punch. Now I wanted to just go in a little bit. Like I say, it's a quick video, man, for hit the road. There's a couple of points I wanted to bring out. So here is it. Not to go to the right or to the left, that he may prolong. Let's go to this one, that he may prolong. This is why we do these videos, man. You think we're just doing videos for the sake of videos. You don't realize, or maybe you do, you're reaffirming the things in your own mind, yeah, to prolong, right? Prolonging your lives, and also your days may be long, man. Pardon the pun. Days may be long. To be long, prolong. To prolong days. To make long. Yeah. To grow long. To grow long. To continue long. This is why we read in the book day in and day out. We do videos day in and day out. Yeah. We follow the routine day in and day out. And there is a method to the madness. That's why I embraced it, man. When the decree came down to do videos, I embraced it, even though I'm not the most the best speaker, one of the good speaker, eloquent speaker, or even good with certain words. So what did I do? I actually worked on the things that I need to work on. Working on the things that I need to work on, getting into the things that I'm not good at, and working on them. Abaratazar. This is why I'm doing these drills, to improve in my weakness. Enough said. To primitive root, to be consecutive, to make long, literally or to figuratively, to draw out, lengthen, to become, prolong. Right, tarry long. So we think we're just reading the. I know, and I know brothers don't think that. We're reading with a method. Reading these scriptures day in and day out, and doing these videos day in and day out with a method. There's a method to it. Here's a pointer. One more point. Yeah. Above his brethren, yeah. Not to lift up, also. Not to lift up. To lift up now. What is it when you lift up? To rise up high. To be lofty, to be exalted. Because that is another reason why we do these videos, so that we apply them. And when you apply them, it makes you more humble. When you apply them, it makes you more humble. But again, in the Christian church, and there's examples also in GMS, that's why a lot of brothers, they don't last long, they don't endure to the end, because they don't apply the scriptures. It's really that simple. They don't apply the scriptures. That's why they don't last long. In GMS, that is. Abba Azar, they repent, and the Most High has mercy on them. It's all up to them. You don't get kicked out because you really excuse yourself. And there's a couple of examples in my short time in this truth. When people leave, they really excuse themselves, either directly or indirectly. No one just says you've got to go. If you don't want to go, you'd apply the scriptures, man. It's just that simple. Putting it in a nutshell. So to be lofty, to be exalted, that's what happens when you don't apply the scriptures. To be high, to be set on high. To be raised, be lifted, to be exalted. And when you don't apply the scriptures, and if you come in, let me just say this too, if you come in the truth with the wrong motive too, just to gain knowledge and to exalt yourself over brothers, you ain't gonna last long either. That's not the purpose of coming into the truth. You come into the truth first and foremost to learn, to grow, to put these things into practice in your personal life, in secret and in the public, to be an example, to a living example. Even though we know our righteousness is filthy rags, we keep fighting, man. Abba Ratazar, the Most High, and also we hope that we are of the elect. And if we are of the elect, Abba Ratazar, when you fall short, the Most High have mercy on us. Also, because we know King David, he fell short, he made mistakes, and the Most High had mercy on him because he repented. So we're bringing a balance as well. There's a balance too. Abba Ratazar, we all fall short and we all need mercy. Yes, to rise, to lift up, take up. But if you become self-exalted, you're alleviating yourself, you're excusing yourself to be humble and the Most High, and you don't humble yourself to the Most High, then you ain't going to receive mercy, man. It's important to be merciful, because you yourself, if sins were what the Most High watch, you yourself are a sinner. We ourselves are sinners. We're all sinners and we all fall short of the glory of the Lord. One more. So I brought that one out. Lift up. To lift up. That's the importance of reading these scriptures. They're supposed to make us more humble. Alright, let me lift up. Let me go back in on that. Lift up. Just to hear what it says.
Strong's H7311. Room.
Alright. In the Greek and the Hebrew. To rise in various ways. Application to figuratively, to bring up, exalt self. To exalt yourself. And you know what it says in Matthew, he that exalts himself shall be humbled. Yeah, to go up, highly leave up, to be lift up, to make or set up on high. And if you go up too high, there's a saying, if you go up too high, you're only going to come down. But if you're down low, humbly on the floor, the elect Abba Ratazar, that's why we're being refined that now. The only way, if you're down on the floor, right down on the floor, we know we're right down on the floor. The only way is up for you. But if you're too high, the Most High have to bring you. He has to. And the only way for you is to go down. But if you're so low, you're called to the Lord to be lifted up, man. And there's examples of David, who he actually made mistakes. He bowed down humbly to his face to the ground, and the Most High eventually showed him mercy, and he was lifted up. But he still had to suffer a lot of consequences for his sin. Yeah, mount up, offer presumptuously, to promote, proud, set up, take away. There's the word presumptuous. Yeah, so one more word. Lift up his brethren, to So we don't want to be lifted up above our brethren. Be careful. Don't tread down your brethren. I'm going to entitle this video something to that effect. Don't tread down your brethren. Brother, same. Alright, that's it. Sense of relationship. So yeah, our brothers are those in the spirit. Actually, we're more closer to our brothers in this truth than our fleshly brothers. You know, if they're not in the truth, they're not your brothers in the spirit. Brothers in the spirit are our brothers in the spirit in this truth, man. Again, the spirit bears witness, man. So I just wanted to highlight that, man. Let me just now see what I wanted to look at, because we have to be careful, man. This truth and knowledge can is it 1 Corinthians 8 talks about knowledge puffs up. So we read the book not to just take it as knowledge, to take it to make us more humble. When you apply it in diverse situations, in all different circumstances, the idea is that it makes us more humble. Again, some people come in the truth and get a lot of knowledge and they start to exalt themselves over their brothers, man. We have to examine ourselves. We've seen how others do it, but we have to examine ourselves that we're not doing it ourselves. Yeah? Exalted of a person or high rank or stature at high or powerful level. Right? Elevated, prominent, superior. Yeah? Lofty, grand, exalted, so again, so I wanted to tap in again an example. Exalted himself. When you tap in exalted himself, self-elevation is an excessively intensified sense of well-being, powerful, of importance, at its worst. At its worst, it is self-tribute, self-praise. Can you see? Let me zoom out a bit. The example of a person humbling himself. At its worst, it is self-praise, self-honoring, self-glorifying, self-worshipping. So if you're exalting yourself, you're actually worshipping yourself. You're self-worshipping. It's all about you. Yeah, and this truth, when we come into the truth, it's not nothing about us, man. It's nothing about us. It's all about Yahweh Hashem Yoshai, humbling ourselves to the will of the Lord. Right? No, last one of the etymology. Because there's like I say, in my short time in the truth, I've seen these people. People want to shoot up quick, and you know what they do? They start because they want to exalt themselves. They start to step on other people and belittle other people to make themselves look good in the eyes of men. Right? And in Sirach 19 and 23 says they have no fear of the eyes of men, and the eyes of the Lord is 10,000 times brighter than the sun, but they don't fear the Lord. It's all about them and the exalting of themselves and getting the praise of men. There's no fear of the Lord in them, man. Again, we're doing this making sure, because the Most High gave us those examples for those people to do that for us, so that we don't do that. It's an example for us not to do. Exalt, literally grow tool, give off viper, flow out. Exalt, Latin exalata, rise, elevate from, out of, within. High, literally grow tall, to grow, nourish, to elevate in rank or honor. And there's nothing wrong with having rank or honor, but if you exalt yourself in the position where you don't belong, that's again, you're going to be for those that exalt themselves, there's only one way to go, and that's down. If you exalt yourself up, if you humble yourself, there's only one way to go. If you're down, the only way to go is up. Right? All praises to Yahweh Hashem Yoshai, the water to Yahweh Hashem Yoshai, for calling us into this truth, because we're only called right now, and that's a good thing. Because if we thought we were chosen, we might become proud, man. But the point is that we want to endure and keep fighting to the end, endure to the end and fight to the end. So the Abarattas are, we get those crowns, man. Glorify, praise, extol. And this is, if you're exalting yourself, this is what you're doing. You're worshipping yourself, praising yourself. Praising, and we want to avoid doing all those things, man. So let's go back to the blue letter. Now tapped in, exalt himself, exalt and himself. It occurs 8 times in 3 verses in the scriptures. So you know the one here. Just read it. Matthew 23:12 says, and whosoever shall exalt himself shall be abased, and he that humbleth himself shall be exalted. There you have it. 8 times in 3 verses in the scriptures. But if I was to just tap in exalt, it'd probably come up more. But in tapping exalt himself, there you have it. Whosoever shall exalt himself shall be abased, and he that humble himself shall be exalted. If you're up, you're going to be brought down. If you're down, in the spirit of the Lord, Most High bring us up if we humble ourselves, man. So this is just a quick one. We're going to end off, man. All praises to Yahweh Shemeshai. Pray it was edifying. Deuteronomy 17:17. Let's end off with 18. And it shall be when he sitteth upon the throne of his kingdom that he shall write him a copy of this law in the book, out of that which is before the priest and the Levites. We looked into the context of that. Alright, it was an instruction to the kings in the Bible Gateway. It was an instruction, guidelines for the king. We looked at that, and there's other precepts that come up. 1 Kings 2 and 3, and it goes into that. That goes into King Solomon. Other verses come up. Deuteronomy, 2 Kings 11 and 12, talking instructions to King Solomon again. So these were instructions and guidelines for kings to take place. And we're going to be judges as well, bearing that in mind. We're going to be judges. If we get those crowns, we're going to be reigning as kings. So we're taking this, we're focusing on these type of, like I say, this Deuteronomy 17, looking at the reading the scriptures, is not just for the sake of reading, it's for us to preparing us to get those crowns if we endure to the end, so that we can reign as kings with justice and mercy, in administration of justice. And we won't be merciful, we're going to be justice too. We're going to bring justice too. Justice upon the wicked and mercy upon the merciful. And we have to be merciful also, so that we can receive mercy. Yeah, we may learn to fear the Lord his God, to keep all his words of this law and these statutes, to do them. And it shall be with him, and he shall read therein. As a matter of fact, I'm going to read 18 again. And it shall be when he sitteth upon the throne of his kingdom, that he shall write him a copy of this law in the book, out of that which is before the throne, the priest, the Levites. And it shall be with him, and he shall read therein all the days of his life, that he may learn to fear the Lord. Right, in Joshua 1 goes into very similar. We read a little bit at this at camp. Goes into very similar. It talks about meditating, which means to almost be in the spirit in your day-to-day life, to be praying, man, putting it into practice when you need to. And that also prevents you from exalting yourself above your brother. When you pray and you meditate on the Most High, what he wants us to do, it stops us from becoming proud and exalting ourselves, man. That he may learn to fear. There's the key word there. That we may fear the Lord his God, to keep all his words of this law and these statutes, to do them, that his heart be not lifted up above his brethren. Right. The fear of the Lord will prevent you from doing that. Lift your heart above your brethren. That's what he talks about. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Yeah? And that he turn not aside from the commandments to do the right hand or to do the left, to the end that he may prolong his days. Yeah, Abu Ratazar, we endure to get into the kingdom, and then that's when it starts. The real life. Possible spoke about the real life. Yeah, that he may prolong his days in his kingdom, he and his children in the midst of Israel. Abu Ratazar, we get there, man, and endure to the end. That's what I wanted to just highlight. So we read the scriptures for the Abu Ratazar to edify the church, also to apply it to us, and we don't exalt ourselves above our brethren, and we fear the true Lord, because that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. So beware not to tread down your brothers. That's what I want to entitle this lesson. Beware not to tread down your brothers. Something to that effect. So the water to your Shimmy Shah for giving me the spirit to do this video. Yes, the house of David is rising, man. And salutes to all the 144,000 elect and all the rest of the elect is on to the next.